Hello there everybody and welcome to the next episode of Skogul the Trapper. We ended our last recap on a bit of a downer. We failed to obtain the mycological bow despite having killed an ample amount of dire moths. But we were not ready to give up just yet, and I was very hopeful for the next upcoming week. As you can see, without any further ado, here is the list, and we already know we are going to get right back into slashing those dire moths into pieces. Smack dab in the middle of our task list is the deep worm spike root delivery. Deep worms, of course, we already saw them. I died to one of those when I started hunting the dire moths. Having them on the list means we are back to grinding for the mycological bow. Also on the task list we can see some minotaur mages, ifrits, quara pinchers, boogies, rotworms, swamplings, necromancers and cobras. Two of these are going to be quite problematic, ifrits and quara pinchers specifically. They either require a quest to access them in larger quantities or to access them at all. With these two task slots almost definitely out, I was going to need to complete a delivery, so that I may qualify for the ×2 multiplier. I could also unlock ifrits by doing the blue Jinn side of the Jinn war, however I was not going to do that. I am going to explain why in a moment, but for now, let's get into hunting for the mycological bow. I decided upgrading my weapon is going to be crucial if I want to have fun doing these tasks in the future. I spent some more time running around the beautiful catapult that allowed us to hunt dire moths in the first place, and I finally came to a realization. Some time ago, to help me finish a delivery for Hydra heads, I went as far as to activate a prey for 5 prey wildcards, which you can get free of each week from the daily rewards. Considering I went that far just to complete a delivery that was only a matter of time, I was baffled to realize that I did not even think to do the same with dire moths, especially with that much riding on me getting that weapon upgrade at long last. And so, having invested a 2 weeks worth of prey cards, with the mighty power of prey bonuses on my side, it did not take more than 3.5 hours for me to finally drop that stinking bow at long last. As you're probably aware, I am a little bit late to release this recap. In fact, this is going to be 2 weeks at once, so I have had a lot of time to enjoy this bow, and I have to say, the difference in damage that I do is immense. The bow is not only very accurate, it has better range and its maximum hit is pretty much twice that of the spears. Of course, a large portion of the bow's damage is ammunition. Even if I were to use the regular basic arrows that you can summon with the Exevo con spell, I was already doing a lot of damage compared to enchanted spears. And the most important part is, I was not missing almost any shots. Kind of anticlimatically, I decided that the first task that I would go for are going to be swamplings. I just wanted to take the bow for a spin and also use some low-level arrows just to see what would be the lowest damage that I can get with this thing. One very pleasant hunt later, I was ready to take on the next powerful foe, which was going to be of course rotworms. I am still summoning my own arrows because, of course, I don't really need a lot of damage to deal with those guys. Me actually hunting rotworms is like a quarter of this recording. Most of it is me going to Fibula where there's a lot of rotworms, so I can complete the task undisturbed. Soon enough the rotworms were done and I was ready to move on to cobras. At this point, I could count on the fingers of a single hand how many shots I missed. This weapon is this accurate, and it is going to get even better once I increase the proficiency level a little bit. Then I traveled to Yalahar to deal with some minotaur mages. They were kind of a pain because this place is very overcrowded and there aren't really that many spawns where you can hunt them. Also in Yalahar there were necromancers, so I also took that task off the list. At this point I was using the onyx arrows already. It couldn't hurt to have some extra DPS against necromancers, since they hit kind of hard if you let them. At first my idea was to carry a brown quiver full of regular arrows in order to deal with weak enemies, then the red quiver filled with onyx arrows for mid tiers, and the blue quiver with crystalline arrows, which are the strongest arrows that I can currently use. But then it was time for me to do the boogie task, and as soon as I started hunting with these crystalline arrows on, I decided there can be no going back. the quality of life with these things is just immense. Sometimes I was able to one-shot Fairies creatures. Of course, it was one of those special weeks when you have a chance to turn into a golden man and also your weapon has an additional chance to crit, etc, etc, so the damage might have felt a little bit better than it would ordinarily do, but most importantly, in Fairies I can get so much money. Just from killing the creatures I was getting enough gold to pay for the arrows, and then I was also getting all these beautiful creature products on top. Needless to say, as long as I get to hunt in Fairies every now and then, and it felt like I would, I'm going to show you in a moment, I have no doubt that my economy is currently so secure that I don't need to worry about splurging on the crystalline arrows every now and then. And by now and then I of course mean all the time. A couple wonderful, relaxing and most of all profitable hours later, the boogie task was finished. And like I said before, I was already done with the tasks that I could do for this week. I cannot access Quarry Pinchers without getting a little bit deep into the Explorers Society questline, which I do not have the energy to do right now. I don't even know if I have the resources. And the Efreets, well, technically I thought that maybe I could unlock them. You see, you can join one of the two factions, either Blue Jeans or Green Jeans, in order to trade with the one you chose and be able to fight the one that you opposed. The choice is really all about the kind of items that you want to be able to sell, or at least that is the case for regular players, and those of course can just make two characters and the whole choice is really quite trivial, not to mention most players just sell everything on the market anyway. However, as an Ironman, the choice is a little bit more complicated than that. You see, Green Jeans, they offer something very interesting compared to the Blue Jeans. They offer you a chance to buy Dwarven Rings. For Ironman, Dwarven Rings are already kind of rare. You have to go out of your way to hunt creatures that drop them, so that you always have some on hand. But for my Ironman, that is locked to only killing creatures that it rolls on the task list, it is actually very hard to come across enough Dwarven Rings to sustain hunts, especially in later stages of the game, where it seems that everybody and their grandma can cast Drunkenness. Because of this, I decided to ignore this Efreet task. I am not going to join Blue Jeans just because I want to be very safe with my character and never risk getting locked out of completing a task just because I ran out of Dwarven Rings. The last issue to solve this week was how to qualify for the ×2 multiplier. I definitely needed to complete a delivery task, and the choices were as follows. I could either go and kill some death blobs for black tar, which isn't exactly my idea of a nice hunt. I could go back to killing deep worms, along with dire moths, in order to deliver those roots that allowed me to finish the micological bow grind, but of course that felt like the worst possible thing I could do at this time. Or, speaking of Dwarven Rings, I could go to the Lost Dwarves and kill some Lost Throwers in order to get the Lost Thrower bracelet delivery done. I have already had a bunch of those in my depot from the last time we rolled them, and as it turns out with my new bow, I had no trouble going deeper into the caves and just hunting in this area like I owned the place. Couple hours later I had all the bracers and the week was done. I managed to get the ×2 multiplier, which was huge. And since I already have you guys there, let's do a recap of the next week that I did, since I skipped a video last week. It's going to be pretty short, so let me quickly explain. Just a minute before, I mentioned a couple of quests that I would like to do, and quests are going to be quite problematic for this character. Normally, for an Ironman, quests are already a bit of a pain, because you need to obtain many of the items that you normally need to complete them all by yourself, while other players would just get them from the market. But I cannot just go and grab those items, especially if it's something that drops from a creature. I need to specifically roll that creature in my task list in one way or another in order to do it. Hence why I decided to take a chill week and roll for some novice tasks, so that I can knock them out of the way quickly and focus on bounties. Now, bounties can be rerolled many times a day, as long as you continue doing them every now and then, and they basically offer me a way larger variety of creatures in a single week. And the variety is what I need in order to obtain many of the important items that I require to unlock certain quests. First on the list is the Wandering Trader, for which I need a deer trophy from either a smuggler or a hunter, as well as a goldfish that I can obtain in a way, but I'm going to show that in a moment. I also really want to join the Green Jean faction, so I need to roll blue jeans in order to be able to kill them during the quest. As you can see on the list, there's nothing really interesting among the kill tasks or the delivery tasks, so I'm just going to do all the kill tasks quickly and then focus on the bounties. Well, that is actually a lie. There is one thing that's quite interesting in there, and that is the poachers. Poachers, of course, can be found along with hunters, and like I mentioned moments ago, I can get the deer trophy from those, so that's a pretty lucky spin. So here's a quick montage of me completing all the tasks. And then I started rolling bounties. Like I mentioned before, I need to obtain a golden fish in a fishbowl in order to complete the Wandering Trader quest. Normally you would require a Helmet of the Deep, which is tied to the Explorers Society, which is very difficult to complete right now, which is the main reason why I could not do Quara Pinchers last week. However, believe it or not, Zipsoft decided to be a little bit inconsistent with how underwater exploration works in this game. There is one underwater area that you can get into without the Helmet of the Deep. Deep below the Grey Island there is a city of Deeplings, and these Deeplings, well, you can access them without having to wear the diving helmet for some reason, as long as you talk to this guy in the tower. And it being underwater, all you need to do is kill a couple of Deepling scouts and some Deepling warriors, and you can get the elusive goldfish quite easily on an Ironman. And all of this was courtesy of the Deepling Guard bounty that I rolled. Special thanks to Central Glossa from our guild Iron Bears, who showed me the way to do this. With this I was ready to engage with the least efficient poacher hunt possible, where I prioritize killing hunters and sort of kind of forgot to click on poachers every now and then, just to make sure I spent long enough to drop that stupid deer trophy. And lucky for me, it did not take long at all to drop it. Finally, I've been trying for this thing for a long time, so I finally have the last item required to do the Wandering Trader quest. Unfortunately, that quest is a little bit of a week-locked thing, where you can only start it on a Monday and then you have to do a quest every day of the week. So we're gonna have to wait for the next week to finally unlock trading with Rashid. I then rolled a Crypt Shambler bounty, and it made me think that perhaps I could use this to complete Koshchei the Deathless quest. Koshchei is kind of sort of in the vicinity of some Crypt Shamblers, so it would technically allow me to kill him in the battle. So I went on a quick journey to collect all of the medallion pieces, and then I realized that I actually do not really want to fight him. I mean, I can, right? But then I would lose this amazing amulet that gives you death protection, and all I would have in return would be a pair of slightly less heavy blue legs with exactly the same armor as my current night legs that would clash with my outfit even more. Like, can you imagine? It's going to be green, red and then blue. Absolutely disgusting. So no, for now I'm not grabbing the blue legs. My next bounty was worms. I was very happy to take a tiny revenge of those guys. If you remember earlier weeks, I was trying to get a composite hornbow from them and it never dropped, kind of a similar story to Dyramos really. But I did persevere and get the micological bow from Dyramos in the end, so I was more than happy to shoot some worms, just recreationally this time. Next bounty, this one is quite valuable, though it's a little bit of a pain to do. Swamp Trolls, they are being quite crowded by all the other high-level players who are trying to complete their bounties, and those high-level players this time were all like 1000 and more levels above me, so I didn't stand much of a chance against them. The main reason why I want to kill as many Swamp Trolls as I can is to collect pieces of wood that they drop sometimes. I need to collect wood in order to unlock Goroma. It's probably one of the biggest hurdles that is currently stopping me from completing Shutter Isles quest, not to mention it gives access to many useful hunting grounds that I simply cannot go to right now. Of course, mostly it's pirates and undead pirates. Couple pieces of wood later, I was done with Swamp Trolls. After this I rolled two Fairist bound bounties, Twisted Pukas and Nymphs, and as luck would have it, phones happened to be boosted on one of these days. All the sudden competition aside, the phones were really good XP as well as money. And then the last bounty I did this week was dragons. I'm pretty sure there could be some quests that I might be able to do thanks to this dragon bounty, but honestly I just felt like hunting some of them and using my beautiful obsidian knife for the pretty much first time ever since I got it. And so with this we are going to wrap up our 2 weeks recap. I don't think I'm gonna do another 2 weeks, I think I'm going to go back to the weekly schedule, but it all depends on how eventful these weeks are. Until then, before I forget, important announcement: if you're interested in starting your own Ironman journey, you are more than welcome to join us in the Iron Bears on Sakura. We are looking for new members, we want to tackle many of the Ironman quests, stuff like that. If you wanna team hunt with other Ironmen and do it like a little bit less solo than I do, you're more than welcome to join. We don't really police on your rule sets, you consider yourself an Ironman and we consider you too. Yeah, just check us out, join the Discord or apply through tibia.com. From what I heard, we especially need knights, because Mud Iron, our highest level Ironman in the guild, I think he's like 275 mage, sorcerer that is, he really could use a blocker. So, join us if you want, and until then, have a great week, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.